This clip is brought to you by SaveWithConrad.com.
But then we're back on June 29th, 1985, doing TV. This time we would see Arn and Ole team up to take on Alan Martin and Joe Smith. And we've got some clips from there as well. I also want to play some promos as we cruise into July, but let's very briefly go ahead and play some audio from that tag match.
And in the ring, you're going to see Roy George, Alan Martin against Ole and Arn Anderson. And Arn Anderson starts to work on him right now. This team of Ole and Arn, they can wrestle. They can maul you like the Minnesota Wrecking Crew. That's what they call themselves, and you can see why. Right now, he's got him in that sugar. Now he switches around.
So you're working on the arm as all Anderson matches started. And I wanted to ask, in terms of the dynamic of working a studio match like this, what's it like from a timing standpoint? I know these days they say, okay, we've got an agent. We're going to assign you guys this agent for this match. We're thinking so and so minutes. And you've told us before, when it came to programming a WWE show, the time of the match would include the entrance and the post match. So you've got to figure it all out and sort of work backwards to time the show. What's it like in these more simpler times here in TBS in 85?
Well, you would be given an amount of time, and the one thing you had to find out now is that 5 or 6 minutes or 8 minutes or whatever it may be, or 10 minutes, it varied. Sometimes it was because of the strength of the opponent or whatever. You had to find out, all right, does that 8 minutes, is that we're going to come up on air and we're already in the ring, or are we going to have an entrance that comes out of that 8 minutes? Are we going to have a promo afterwards that comes out of that 8 minutes? So you had to kind of break it down. That TV, TBS, that time was valuable and worth a lot to a guy's career, worth a lot of money. As far as, I don't know how you would price that out, but I know it was very, very expensive, and you would not just run over because you felt it. If you had 6 minutes, you had to get it done, at that time within 6 minutes. So there was still some thought that had to go into it for sure.
From an agent standpoint, I know we've talked about that before, that it's not exactly like it is these days. Would you be assigned a referee ahead of time? And what communication, if any, would you have with him before you got in the ring?
Yeah, we would have a ref, and he would come over, and, you'd have okay, what's going on? What are you guys going to do? We got so many minutes. You didn't have agents. You didn't have, producers and all that. It was on the talent, and, it was up to you to get your stuff done, get it properly, get your story told. And in the designated time that was given you, that was on the talent. It wasn't up to anybody else. And the referee was basically there just to, complete the finish or count the guy out or whatever it was. That was his role and nothing more. But, let's just say that the show was running heavy. The referee could come find you and say, hey, you guys had 8 minutes. Now you have 6, and give you a little bit of warning.
Did you have some sort of floor manager who would be sending some sort of time cues to the referee or you guys? We've heard stories of, I think in this era, the WWF, someone at the ringside area, maybe the bellkeeper or somebody would put a pencil in his mouth. Other times we heard about guys who would wave the tie. Did that exist here in TBS?
I think those days were gone. That did exist. It absolutely did. Guys would get caught up, especially on like live events is where it would happen more so. I mean, most guys that were professionals knew if they took advantage and exceeded their TV time and cut into another guy's TV time, that was a real heated issue because that was your money. That was how you got over. It wasn't something that you took lightly. But if you were supposed to go 10, 12, 15 minutes in a house show, and now you're at the 25-minute mark just because you're having fun, Grizzly Smith would come down with a pencil in his mouth or wiggling his tie or whatever it may be in that particular territory, or the guy running the show in other companies, say it was a Bob Roop, would just go to the curtain and maybe even send a referee indiscreetly down to the ring just to buzz the other ref. Hey, let's get it moving. Guys are running over. There were ways of communicating.
So you set up the arm and tagging Ole. Ole comes flying off the top. Let's take a listen to the replay.
Take a look once again at Ole Anderson coming out of the top rope. And down he goes. The National Tag Team Champions are the winners.
And of course, that set up a submission win for Ole. Man, we've talked about that a lot. It is a hallmark of the Andersons. We take a body part and we render it useless. Usually that's the arm. And we're routinely seeing Ole win on TV with a standing armbar, guys submitting. And let's talk about those guys who are submitting. I know in the big arena shows, sometimes there would be separate dressing rooms. So the heels on one side and the baby faces on the other. Not only separate dressing rooms, but separate entrances. So, as we've heard as wrestling fans, you would have a referee who would sort of communicate with both locker rooms and carry finishes back and forth, I think is the phrase that they would use. But my question, I guess, is what does that look like on a TV day? I've been led to believe that sometimes it's not like you guys were, quote unquote, booking the enhancement talent. They just show up looking for work, and you know what you
got to get excited about saving people all those dollars. They can limousine ride and jet fly now with that extra cash.
And they can style and profile with a quick 10-minute phone call right now to 425-0105.
That's 425-0105. Woo!
SaveWithConrad.com. Got when you get there, do you have any communication with those guys ahead of time?
Sometimes it would just be the referee would carry them the finish. There was nothing really to talk about. It was, if there was any conversation, it would just simply be, hey, this is the time we've got. I'll go ahead and tell you in advance, we need to look strong. We're working with Slater and Buzz Sawyer. So, just to let you know up front, not being a dick here, but I need to get my shit in. And sometimes you would not say that. It would just be implied, and the guys that were there were smart enough to know they were there to enhance us, and that was their goal for the day. That was their job description of the day, and very seldom would you have anyone that wanted to push the envelope and let's just say try you.
Hey, it's Conrad Thompson. Thanks for checking out the podcast here on YouTube. Be sure to hit the subscribe button and the notifications bell so you get a notice anytime we upload some new content. And go save yourself some money right now. If you're in a 30-year loan or you have credit card debt, it's not a matter of if I can save you money. It's a matter of how much. Find out right now for free at SaveWithConrad.com.